Are you tired of juggling projects, tasks, and teams? Feel like you're always stuck in management chaos? Well, you're about to break free. Did you know, despite the availability of project management software, 70% of IT projects still fails? This suggests the key to the successful project isn't just tools used, but how they are used. And only a fraction use it to its full potential. Well, in few minutes, you are going to join the rank of those who does. By the end of this video, you won't just know how to use Jira, but you will be a Jira pro. We are talking about setting up projects, creating tasks, managing workflow, and generating reports. Everything you need to know to make your project run smoother, faster, and more efficiently. You have got the power to radically change the way you work, and we are here to guide you every step of the way. We promise this isn't your average tutorial. We have got the real-life example, expert insight, insider tips and tricks. You won't find it anywhere else. In less than an hour, you will go from a Jira beginner to a Jira pro. So, ready to change your work game? Then buckle up because it's time to dive into the world of Jira. So, first thing first, what is Jira? Well, simply put, Jira is a project management tool that teams around the world rely on better planning, tracking, and releasing of software. It's the brainchild of Atlassian, an Australian company that launched this gem back in 2002, simply changing the way we manage the work. The fascinating origin of name Jira is like a legendary tale. Jira emerged from the depth of Japanese language, blending the mighty force of Godzilla, also known as Godzilla. Jira purpose perfectly aligned with its namesake, the legendary ability to conquer and destroy those pesky software bugs. But that's not all. Going deeper into the linguistic wonder of Japan, where Gorira stands for gorilla and Kujira signifies whale, combining this powerful creature gives birth of Gojira, a colossal thing that can only be described as gorilla with the size of whale. As incredible it sounds, this leads us directly to the unforgettable name we know today, Gojira, or simply we call it Jira. Now, the question comes, why Jira software? Why not stick to traditional method of tracking work progress? Well, let's imagine you're trying to bake a cake without a recipe or build a ship without a blueprint. Seems chaotic, right? That's where Jira steps in. It helps to organize your team's work, turning chaos into structure. It's like your own personal assistant keeping track of your projects. Then the question comes, how does Jira work? Well, it's pretty simple. Imagine Jira as a gigantic white dashboard filled with sticky notes. Each note is a task and you have to move them around the different section of the board as you progress. Simple yet effective. Now, let's break down the anatomy of Jira, which basically consists of 4 key components: projects, issues, dashboards, and workflow. Projects cover all the work-related stuff to a particular product or services. Issues, on the other hand, are the unit of work that need to be completed, like tasks, story, or bugs. Dashboards are personalized view that highlights what's important to you. And finally, the workflow is how an issue progresses from start to finish. When it comes to issues, 2 key terms you will come across very often. These are epic and story. Think of epic as a big chunky goal like building a spaceship. It's a broad objective that need to be broken down into manageable stories. A story might be designing blueprint for a spaceship or procuring material for construction of the spaceship. Related to the story, another key term is story points. Story points are a unit of measure for expressing the overall effort required for implementing a story. Now, you may wonder, what are tasks, subtasks, and when do we use them? Tasks are individual pieces of work that need to be completed, when subtasks are pieces that make up tasks. Imagine a task baking a cake, and subtasks could be gathering ingredients, mixing them, baking, and so on. Use these subtasks when you want to break down a task into manageable chunks. Oh, and let's not forget bugs. In Jira, bugs are just issues that are causing problems and that need to be fixed, like an ingredient missing from our cake. Similarly, Jira tickets are issues that have been logged into the system. It's a bit like a to do list. Now, you may wonder, can Jira be used for project management? Well, absolutely. It is built for it. Think of Jira as a conductor managing a symphony of tasks, ensuring each plays its part to deliver a harmonious project. Jira is quite versatile and can be used in conjunction with other software like Confluence. So, what's the difference between Jira and Confluence? Imagine if Jira is a team's mission control center, Confluence is its knowledge base. Confluence is used to create, organize, and discuss work with our team, a perfect complement to Jira. Logging into Jira is a breeze. Simply navigate to the Jira website and enter your email and password, and voila, you are in. In essence, Jira isn't just a tool, it's a game changer, a tool that can transform the way you work and bringing a dash of structure and a large chunk of efficiency to your projects. So, are you ready to embrace the future of work and experience the Jira's live demo? Then let's jump in. Till now, we have covered the comprehensive tour of Jira's concept, the project management tool that is set to skyrocket your productivity. But remember, this is just the beginning. The beauty of Jira lies in exploring and personalizing. So, let's deep dive into the live training section and discover some hidden secrets of Jira. So, to log in Jira, you simply search on Google Jira login and you will be basically directed toward the Atlassian website. So, here's a link. You will just click on this link and you will reach to the login page. Now, to log in, you can utilize various email ID. You can use Google, Microsoft, Apple ID. Also, you can have other email ID to log in. So to log in, I will simply use the Google email ID which I made for this, and you can just simply utilize that email ID for login. And once you click in, it will simply ask for using that account, and you have to just simply confirm for create this account with this email ID. And once you land in, you will be basically reaching to this page, which basically gives you the account setting, account support, this kind of general link. And also there are several product, if you see. So in Jira software, Confluence, Jira service management, Bitbucket, and status page. So this is a landing page. Once you click on your the login account, and after that you can utilize the Jira software. So once you log into the landing page, you will be basically seeing the various products. So one is your Jira software, another one is Confluence, then you have the Jira service management, Bitbucket, then status page. Also you can find various helpful link, which is basically one is for account setting, then there is some support link, community link, also some stuff related to your licensing and documentation process. So focusing on the Jira software itself, let's click on this link and it will bring you to the main Jira software. Right, so you can start it with free, so you can just click on get it free, and this will again ask you for the email ID, as well as you can give some temporary your site name. So let me just put a temporary name here just for test. So and I just created a temporary website so that this software can work, and you can just simply agree the terms. So here are some general question. You can simply skip them, or depending upon your situation or interest, you can choose which will basically help the Jira to customize this the software itself. So you can just simply skip it. I'm skipping to the main software portion, and now it will take some time to set up your Jira software. So now we are landed on this Jira software platform. Here you can see now we have two new options. One is Jira work management, and remember we have created this user name, so username is appearing. It means we have the platform ready with the username which we have created. So let's click on the Jira work management, and it will bring you to the main the core software. And first thing which is going to ask you to create a project, right? Because Jira is all about project management, and it's all start with a project. So you can just simply click on the create project, and it will give you the several options. So before going into detail of creating project, let me explain you what are these options are, right? So whenever you create a project, right, a project can be several types. So here if you see, we have software management, service management, work management, product management, marketing. There are several the functions or several areas where you can do the project management. So depending upon this each area, Jira basically provides you the various standard template which helps you to create the projects based on the normal practice which industry is following, so that it will increase the efficiency while you're creating project, right? So let's say for the software project, you are having the three options. One is your Kanban, another one is Scrum, that one next one is a bug tracking. So these are the one the various major category in which you work whenever you're working in software industry. Like for service management, we have various kind of template available. One is your IT service management, general service management, customer HR services, finance services related. Like this, depending upon your industry, you can go to the specific template and choose the template, so that you can kickstart without wasting much time or thinking about what's the standard best practice which you should be following while creating this project. So that's what the benefit of the Jira is, and you should be utilizing this template to increase your efficiency. So let's take an example for this tutorial. We will take one example of software development and we'll create one project, right? So I'm going to create a software development project with the Kanban methodology, and I will use this template. So if you see this template itself, it simply explains exactly what kind of issue type which you will be getting here. So it's epic, story, bug, task, and subtask. Remember this, we have discussed in our previous tutorial, that what kind of issue type which Jira is following. Then it also tells various other features, like it can track the work, various kind of boards available, continuous improvement, and with the reports which we will be seeing while we create this project. So let's create this project by using this template. So simply click here in use template. So our project is created with Kanban. Now the next thing is that you need to select the other option, whether it's a team manage or company manage. So team manage is basically related to the small team, where the small group of people, they are working together. And the company manage is something where we have one administrator who look after all those settings. It's basically followed by very big companies, and they have a separate Jira administrator to manage different kind of projects. But if you are the freelancer, or if you have a very small team, you can choose this select team management project. So however, the features will more or less same. In company manage, there will be more feature in terms of customization, in terms of various other option availables, permissions, and those kind of things will be there. Also there will be some advanced features, like there will be the roadmaps, then pull-in issues, then there will be further comprehensive HR reporting. Those kind of options will be available. But if you are a small team, or you're just starting company, this will be sufficing your requirement. So we will select the team manage, and will first thing it's going to ask you the detail of the project, which start with the name of the project. So let's say we'll call it app development project, right? So, and once you enter this project, the Jira is smartly providing you the key. The key is basically nothing but the code name for the project, because if you see, the name of the project is so lengthy, right? And it will be easier for you to refer this unique key ID for each project. So whenever you're referring, or in terms of documentation, this become very helpful, because imagine a scenario where you're working in hundreds of projects, right? So these keys will be very helpful for the system of managing your projects and quickly searching those information. So once you key in your project name, you just simply click on next, right? And it will give you a project setup, and you can simply go to the project, right? So now you can see we are in the project board, or here I can see the ADP, which was app development project, which I mentioned earlier, and now there's no issue. But if you see here, this is following the Kanban template, right? So we have to do, in progress, and done, right? And if you go to the timeline is basically gives you the overall view of your stories or your epics which you're going to create, and then based on that you can identify what will be the various task and subtask for your the whole project. So before going into detail, I want to tell you the project setting itself. Then you'll be having more idea about how to utilize the Jira software without getting confused in a very efficient way, right? So we will come back to this timeline and board, but before I want to tell you the mechanics behind how the project setting work in Jira. So if you go down below here, if you see, you can see project pages and shortcuts. It is just like in Windows, you're having option to shortcuts to reach some document or some kind of window, so that's you can utilize. The last one is project setting, right? That's a very important tab. If you just click here, it will give you the general setting of your project, right? Basically what kind of access it will be having, what kind of notification, automation, basically what kind of automation available, issue types, remember. So in this one, if you see here, we have the issues. Let's close this notification because we are actually logging in first time, so you will get some help notification. You can close that. But if you again come back here in the project setting, we are getting the issue type of epic, task, subtask, right? Remember we have also discussed bug, so, and stories. So this is not added here, but again, suppose if you are developing a software project, most likely you're going to encounter some bug, right? So it's advisable to have this issue also selected here, so you can just select it and add it, so it will become available in the list whenever you're creating any issue type for this project. Also we would like to add some stories, so we can just add this one also. So just for the demo purpose, in case if some of the issue type is not available for your project, if you're working in a Jira, please go to the project setting and make sure these issue types are available for you, right? And then you can select this. Now further, you can see for each issue type you can further customize this. You can add summary, description, status, assignee. If you want to give the personal label, start date, due date, all those things you can customize it here. Also if you see, there's edit workflow. So if you click for each epic, what kind of workflow it will follow. Basically when it's created, what will happen after that it's created, then once some work is done, then which step each epic will flow. So for this epic, it's just created. After created, we'll go to the to-do list, which we saw in our the dashboard. Then it will move to the progress, and then we move to a done. So this is the default workflow process. But if you want to make changes, you can always go here and then add step here depending upon your customization. So we can do customization part later on in detail, but just for your information, you can find your workflow here by default, right? And you can update that when it's needed. So we will see in this example, but just for information, I think that's enough to see. So here you can find your workflow, detailed description, and the same way you can do a customized workflow for epic, bug, story, task. Separately you can do it. It's not like that a single workflow will be following for each kind of issue story. You can have your own customized workflow for each kind of issues, and that's what the flexibility you will get in Jira, right? So this is all about the project settings. Let's move to the next chapter. So now once we understood the project setting, let's go back to our dashboard, and there we understand some other key elements. So this is our main landing page, and here you can see the timeline board. We just gone through the project settings and what are the key examples which you can refer to your login also. Now if you see here at the top, there's some menu bar, right, which is by default we're landing in the projects. There are some another menu bar which is reflecting to a filter. Then another one is dashboard, which will be coming later on, once we create our project, then how to utilize the dashboard. Then we have this option for the team, which is basically related to how you collaborate with your team. Suppose you have multiple people working on the same team, you can add those people here, and then you can collaborate with them by sharing documents, sharing a schedule, sharing project status, and all those things you can do, right? Also, as we mentioned earlier, the Jira is highly flexible with various kind of software. So you can see by default where the various apps which Jira can integrate with, and you can utilize the same to increase the efficiency or take input from the various apps, right? So this is all about the top menu bar. Now coming back to our example, so what we will do, we will create a project in this Jira, and then we will see how this timeline and board and reportings are utilized by utilizing those project itself. So let's first briefly understand what's a project is, and then we'll come back in Jira and create that project, and then we'll see the whole process of how the project is managed from starting till end of the project. So here's a brief description of the project. So like we mentioned earlier, that we are going through an app development project, which is basically an e-commerce website, and very first requirement is the epic. Remember, so we have the various issues type in a Jira, and very first type is your epic. Epic is basically your broader scope of work, you can say. So here for our example, epic is basically building a shopping cart functionality, right? This is basically a high level of work container which will be carrying various stories, and this can span through multiple sprints or project cycle. So that's a bigger picture, what we call it epic, and for our example it is basically nothing but building the shopping cart functionality, right? Now moving to this epic, there will be various stories, right? So first story is nothing but as a user, I want to let's say add some items in my shopping cart, which I can purchase from the multiple item at once. So this is normal functionality, right? Just an example, like you go to any shopping website and you add some items, or in fact multiple item at the same cart, and then buy it, right? So we want to create the similar functionality. Now to achieve this story, or to achieve the story one, which is basically having the option for multiple items getting added, you need to do certain tasks, right? So first task will be, as a developer or as a software engineer, maybe I will be doing like designing an add cart button in the product detail page itself, so where the user can go and click that button, then implement the function to add the item on the cart, so that people can go and add those items in the cart when they select this. And then after I make those function, then I have to test that, right, whether it's actually working or not. Now when it's come to the testing, there could be several additional subtasks, right? Because testing itself is a big task. So there could be another task is, let's say, add to cart functionality with a single item. Maybe you'd like to test if it's working with single item. Then the next stage, you will going to test whether it's work with multiple item, just an example, so that you will complete this story. So there will be similarly another story we can be adding, like as a user, suppose if you want to view the items in a shopping cart, so that I can review before the purchase. So let's say you added several items, and before just hitting the purchase button, normally people would like to review what are the items they have selected to buy it. So to bring that functionality, again as a user, you will be having several tasks to develop that functionality. So first could be you're designing the shopping cart page, then implement the functionality, then maybe you need to view cart functionality itself, and then again for the testing, you can do for single item, multiple items, same way, right? So it's a similar like story one. We can have the story two, just to demonstrate to you, we can have the multiple story, so that we cover all kind of issue type in a Jira management project. Then there's another issue type, which is bug, right? So let's say when you develop this functionality, right, and there's something which is not working as it's supposed to be. So let's say your function, you added the function add to cart, but items are not getting selected, and that's the one kind of bug, right? So we will create this bug in the Jira, and then we'll see how this bug move from various stages, and how it is resolved depending upon the status of the project. So now we are ready with a brief description of our project, right? We have this ready with us, and now we can go and create this one in our Jira management software. So here we are back in our Jira dashboard. So first we see the timeline and then the board. So the very first option, if you're seeing here, we need to create the epic, right? And here if you see, there's some status category: to do, in progress, and done. So let's start with the creating epics. So as per our example, remember we had example of app development, which is basically shopping cart development issue. So our epic is this. So I will just simply copy it and bring it here. I will just create here, and just once you enter your epic detail, you just hit enter, and your epic is created, right? Now if you click here, this will basically give you the option for this one. So now you can go and further hit this button or create a child issue for this one. So let's say we want to create a story for this, right? The same epic. So what we will do, we will create a story. So if you see here this blue tick button, if you click here, it will give you the various options, right? So let's click story, right? So this is basically your story, and remember we had one example for story. So we'll select this, and we are just going to enter this story here. So now we have related this thing, the epic, and then we related the story with it. And now if you see here, we are getting the automatic key numbering of the Jira. So ADP1 is basically your epic, ADP2 is your story, right? That's the story number 1. Now we have the another story. So what we can do, we can create another story, which is story number 2. So we have this another story. So let's create this, copy this, and go back to for example, and here we are, right? So now we have one epic which is consisting 2 stories, and the status of these 2 stories are in to do, which is by default for every issue type you're going to get as in once you created this. So now we are ready with our epic, and the epic is having this 2 story, and we will further develop the various tasks, right? And if you see here, your epic is automatically now showing here. So it's a building shopping cart functionality, and you created this one story here with this epic. So now you're giving this option. So similarly, you can go and create various epic and story combination. So for example, we will just limit to this one with 1 epic and 2 stories. Now if you see here, this is timeline, right? And currently by default it is showing the month. So let's say if you want to complete this project within some week, you can just click the week and it will give you the week options, right? Or let's say it's a long-term project, so maybe you can go with quarter. So for software, normally week is the most suitable one, which is basically following a sprint cycle. So let's choose week. And one thing we need to define the timeline for this. So let's say you want to complete this story, right? The first one, I want to complete this story, which is basically we need to create the shopping cart with multiple items. So let's say I will start, today is 25th June. So let me start this by maybe from 27 June. So I'll just click here, and let me just slide it here a little. So once we are ready with this our epic and story combination, now the next thing we want to do, apply the timeline, right? So suppose I want to complete this epic story within 1 week time, right? So if you hover over this line of epic, you will see you're getting a purple color of option. By default it's give you 7-day duration timeline. So let's say I want to start this work from 28 June. So I will just click here on 28, and it will give me the 7 days period timeline. So suppose if I want to change it to reduce by 1 day, or maybe if I want to increase by 1 day or 2 day, it will add on those 7 days on top of that. So by standard it will give you the 7-day duration, and then from there you can add or remove that, right? So by this you can simply add this timeline, so which basically tells that this epic work will start on 28 June and it is supposed to finish by
it's as a 6th of July, right? So this is what it means. And suppose in case if you want to change it or remove this date, you can right click on this, and then you can click on remove start date, remove due date, or you can clipboard date. Also you can choose some different color depending upon what's your favorite or your choice. So this is the way you can customize your timeline for the epic. And then you can easily represent what's the start and end date of your overall work. So this is all about the epic and the creating the story. Now we will move further in deep dive to detail down these stories. Remember when we discussed earlier, we want to create the other issue type, which are basically your stories, the task, subtask, and bugs, right? And they will be basically the part of these stories. So now we will move to the next option, which is your board. The board will help us to create further more detailed activity of those two stories. So let's click on board, and now you can see those two stories which we have created earlier is now shown here, right? And which is by default coming in to-do list. And if you just select this one also, it will give you this specific to this epic story. So suppose if we have more than 2 epics, so by default it will give you the list of all the stories. Then you can go and select from here the particular epic, and then it will give you the list of all the stories in that the particular epic or the particular the projects, right? Now suppose if you want to create the further detail for these stories, right? So how we will do that? So we have the create button here, also we have the create button here, so we can click on this and create issues, right? So now we want to create subtask, right, for these under these stories. So if you click just create here, first thing it will ask you what needs to be done, and then here is a blue tick. So by default it's going to create task, but if you just click here, you can see there's other options. So you can further create stories, or you can create bug, right, or you can create task, right? So let's say our aim is to create task, so we'll just create task here. And if you go to our example, so let's say for story 1 we have the various tasks. So let me just copy paste all the tasks at once, and we'll go and create them in here. So let me just paste it here, and I see all is pasted. We'll just stick to this and we'll remove others. So this is our task number 1, right? Hit enter. So when task is created, let's create another one. That will be your create third issue. Okay, so now what it did, Jira is so intelligent that it can quickly check depending upon the naming kind of naming which you are given here. It's automatically created task, remember. So we have actually smartly named this task 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, and once you copy paste this task, inside the Jira, it's automatically recognize that okay, this task is coming in certain format. It means it's a part of the same story, and it quickly created this. Only thing is that it's actually duplicated this. We can simply remove this, because this is kind of duplicated on the top. We just simply delete it. So now we have 1.1, 1.2 is bottom, we can just move it above, and then 1.3. So all 3 tasks are created at once, right? Now the next thing is that remember these tasks are related to your story number 1, right, which is your ADP2. So we need to assign this. So if you just click here, it will open this, and you can just simply add child issues, right, and choose creating the existing issues. So let's go here, save some issue, or so we have the issue key, remember. So issue key is what? ADP4, ADP7, and ADP6. This we are going to add in this one. So let's add the story with various the issues. So we need to basically click on the link issue, and then provide the link here so that it can be linked with that, right? So this is our first story, And remember when we were discussing our projects on first story, these are the tasks which are supposed to be linked, right? And for under the the task number 1.3, these are the further subtasks which need to be allocated or added. So let's do that in Jira. Let's go back to our Jira, right, platform. Here you can see this is our story open, and we need to link this with our story, right? So for linking this, you need to basically need the link of the issue itself. So if you just click three dot here, you just click here, you will get an option of copy issue link. So just copy this one, go to this story, right, click on this link issue and just paste it, right? It's going to give you this is what the task is. You can just simply click this and it is linked it, right? Now we have another one, so let's go and copy the issue of 1.2. Same way, go back, then you just simply put it here, click the plus button here, add, just copy paste this link, and now you link it, right? Just link it. Let's do one more time, close it, go to the third issue, that is 1.3. okay, copy, and then go to the story, click add button, that's it. So now we have successfully added our issues, or basically the tasks, to our stories, right? Now remember, we have subtasks also. Okay, so to do that, first what we need to do, we need to create the subtask. And remember, we have this subtask, right? The subtask is 1.3, which is test add to the cart function with single item, and then another is 1.3.2, which is test add to the cart function with multiple items. So let's add this subtask. So what we will do is copy paste these two subtasks, right? Go to our Jira platform, and here we are going to basically add this. So first we need to do the create this issue, just copy paste here, and it is asking you want to hand with that, if you want to create a issue for every new line. So it's already recognizing there are the two issues, and to create the two issues, basically what we need here, we just click here, create two issues. So now we have created two issues, and now we need to link this. Now here we need to link this with the task. Okay, now which task it is? Our task is this one, 1.3, and this is subtask. So again, let's copy this link, issue link. We'll go here in the task, remember, not in the story. Now this time we are going to link with a task. So here again, same process, paste this link here. Again, it is asking for accept key, just add it and link it. So this is now recognizing a subtask 1.3.2, test at this. Remember, we have one more subtask. Let's go and copy that, copy issue link, go to this task. So remember, we have 1.32. let's add this one. 1.31 is added, put it, and that's it. So this is how you're going to link your task and subtask and then the stories, right? So now once you created your story, task and subtask, now the next thing is you are going to manage your project, right? So basically what it means that you did the initial planning, which is basically a to-do list. You identify what are the issues you will be working on, and then based on when the work progress, how do you track those progress, right? So what it means that, let's say your story 1, okay, it has task 1, 2 and 3. So let's say your first task is completed, so you basically drag this and move into various column. So let's say you started all those 3 activity for story 1, right? Out of this, task 1 is completed, so we move it to the done. Task 2 and 3 are still in progress, right? So if you see here, there are 4 issues, 2 issues are in progress, done is 1 issue. And now if you see in the done column here, your key ID is actually striken out, which is mean that this task is completed, right? So let's say similarly, if this task is completed, if you move it here, you will see here, this task ID is also striking out, which basically means there's a green tick, this was planned and it has completed. So as of now, we have already created various issues with stories, tasks, subtasks. Also, we have learned how we will move from one dashboard or to another column, which is basically your issues, which is to do, plan, or you can say the in progress, which is your the issues which are in progress, or some of the activity which are completed. Now at several times, this is just a very simple example of your project, right, or software project, but in reality when you conduct an actual software project, there may be hundreds or even thousands of activity or issues for a big software project. Now in that case, what happened to track various category of issues, you will need some kind of dashboard which will give you some kind of overview of which area or which kind of issues or which kind of task is lagging, which is delayed. So dashboards are very much helpful to actually get an overall view of the project, which includes your task and subtask, and then with the help of the dashboard you can identify the area where you have the problem and you can start working on that area. So the next very the important feature of Jira is to create the dashboard, right? And it's very easy to create the dashboard in Jira. If you see upper tab menu bar, we have this option dashboard. You just click here. So there's already default dashboard is there, but then there's the option of create dashboard. You just click here and it will give you option to create the dashboard. So let's say we just give this demo for the dashboard, so I will just name it as dashboard demo, right? And then just hit the save button. So now it will open you a page. Here you can see there's basically by default you're seeing 2 columns, and then on the right hand side you see various kind of gadgets available. So it means that you can simply click on this add button and those gadgets will be automatically added. So let's say if you want to see the average age of each issues, that how much each issue is being pended from the start to finish date, you can maybe add this one, and once you click the add button, this gadget will be added here, right? Similarly, let's say you want to find out average number of times in a status, so that you can just simply click on this add. Or let's say you want to see the bubble chart, so you can just simply click on this and it will automatically add it. Also, suppose if you want to move it from one column to another column, you can do that just by simply moving it from here to just drag it. So like that you can customize your dashboard, and after you customize it, you simply click done button and you need to refresh your data. Once you refresh it, you will be seeing the dashboard either in terms of your status, average age, or bubble chart. So this is how easy it is to create the dashboard, and it is really helpful tool, especially when you're managing very big projects with thousands of issues or let's say the activity. So after creating dashboard, now let's look into the reports, right? So once you have the dashboard is created, the very next important thing is how you're reporting your progress project to the various stakeholders. So if you see in the menu bar and try to find the report section, probably you won't find as a default setting. So if see here, we're seeing dashboard, here we have teams, then he has an app integration, but we can't find the report tab itself. Now to find the report tab itself, you need to click on the project settings and then go to the feature. So in the feature section, you will find various kind of options which is available. One is for timeline, which is by default, which we have selected. You can also choose for backlog. So once you toggle on and this button, these options will be available for you, right? If you go down and if you see currently for the report section, this is off, so you need to just simply toggle on, and now you should be able to see the report feature. Okay, also you can see where various options. One is for sprint, again this is mainly for the IT software where you have the scrum masters kind of projects.
Then estimation options there, issue navigator. So we have various options, but just for our purpose, report is fine. So we just toggle on, and let's go back and see where is the report section. So now if you see here in the planning section itself, earlier there was timeline, backlog, and backlog we just toggle on. So now we see the backlog one. So there was only two options, one is timeline and board. Now we can see at the bottom the report section is available. So now to create this report section, you can just click here on the report, and it will bring you to this dashboard. Now we have the various kind of report which is custom built available. One is a burn up report, sprint burn down report, chart, velocity report, deployment of the frequency, cycle time report, and cumulative flow. And if you found this video helpful, or if it's left you curious to discover more, then we have got tons of exciting content coming your way. Delve deeper into the world of project management and equip yourself with the skill needed to outshine in this industry. We encourage you to put these tips into practice, experiment with Jira, discover new strategy, and don't forget to share your experience with us in comment section below. If you like this video, go ahead and smash the like button. Want to keep up with latest trend in project management? Then hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification so you won't miss our next video. Share this guide with your friends, colleagues, or anyone who think you would benefit from mastering Jira. Remember, knowledge is power, and sharing it's only amplifies. So let's grow together as a community, breaking down the complex topic into simple, easy to understand content. Stay tuned, keep exploring, and remember, key to efficient project management is just a click away. Happy managing.